Why are you filming me?
Because I want to know why you filmed me just now. That was a bit of breach of my privacy, really. You didn't ask me permission. Why are you filming her? Can you comment? Do you think that there's threats here?
Are we going to be able to build the public and political will we need fast enough and in an equitable way to really tackle climate change? Or will we simply go down in history as the species that spent all its time monitoring its own extinction rather than taking steps to avert it? Most people, and indeed almost all politicians, are in a state of denial. And certainly it's true that if Tony Blair and George Bush had spent just one fraction of the political commitment and resources into addressing climate change that they instead invested in their illegal and immoral war on Iraq, we would certainly be in a lot safer place today.
This is life, and we all grieve it. People want us to believe, we know better than this, but they want us to believe that there's something glorious about war. They don't know the smells, they don't know the sights, they don't know the grief.
All the wars going on in the world is a resource war. This war for crude oil. The war in Afghanistan is not democracy. The war in Iraq is not democracy. It's all about crude oil.
It takes us over. Then it has no more enemies. Nobody left to kill it. And then it's won.
We in the rich north need to be making cuts of between 80 to 90% of greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. And to achieve that, we'll need nothing short of a revolution in the way that we run our economy, the way we measure human welfare, and the way we produce and consume. And I think the first thing we need to do is to challenge the almost universally held assumption that more economic growth somehow mysteriously, automatically translates into more happiness.
Is this idea that we need to rein in this great power of today's world, which is the multinational corporation. It isn't an exaggeration to say that we live in an era of corporate rule, where corporations can scour the world and they can search for ever cheaper and less regulated bits of labour. Ordinary people, ordinary working people who they can pick up and throw away like they were bits of machinery.
Every single aspect of society is gradually being intruded upon and taken over by corporations. And we have what I think could be described as a model of totalitarian capitalism, that no aspect of human life can be unaffected. And the wider context is, of course, the corporate takeover of everything right the way across the board, which is being facilitated at the moment by the G8 nations. The Corporate Council on Africa, which comprises Halliburton, Coca-Cola, Starbucks, General Motors, General Electric, all the big oil companies, Exxon, Chevron, Texaco, etc. And these guys are now actually in charge of US policy towards Africa. Better, more aid, less debt, better terms of trade do not actually cut to the real core of the issue. They are symptoms of the problem, not the causes of the problem. The problem is power, and in particular, corporate power. And what we are seeing at the moment is not the privatisation of individual services within particular countries. It's a generalised and totalised privatisation of all the world's resources and all the world's people.
We hear that Tony Blair and the G8, they say they will cancel the debt. they will give more aid. But at the same time, they say they will maintain the system and the exploitative relationship which they have with Africa.
You want it. You want the money.
I do, I need the money.
Yeah.
You give it to me.
Yeah, just privatize all your services.
Estamos contra la privatización, estamos contra el hambre y estamos en contra de las injusticias en el mundo. Las multinacionales en Colombia han aparecido desde los últimos siglos, arrancando toda la riqueza del país. Hablo de un país rico porque es un país que tiene oro, petróleo, riqueza hídrica, riqueza mineral, y desde tiempos ancestrales han llegado a territorios indígenas o territorios de colonos a extraer toda la riqueza.
Now, for me, privatization means just one thing. For everything you give to the working class, to the population, to ordinary people, a capitalist must make a profit. You are wrong. You are the enemy. You are responsible for the suffering of people in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, and everywhere else in the world. Your system is the problem.
So wait the color now.
That will, you call that disease.
Alright.
Fight against this system which puts profit before the needs of the people. We must demand water for all, houses for all, education for all. We must say not a cent to profit when we provide these services. We must demand cancellation of debt unconditionally, an end to privatization. We must demand reparations. We must tell them, Africa, we don't owe you anything. It is you who owes us. After all those years of slavery, colonialism, robbery, and plunder, we must build the power to smash their power, the power of G8. We must build people's power and smash capitalism and invent a new system where every child will be assured of healthcare, of water, of schooling. Right from the moment oil exploration starts, everything is violent, down to the combustion engine in your car. It's violence all the way. Anything that stands between the corporations and profit will be destroyed. And so when you drive into a Shell pump station and have your car filled up with petrol, I would like to tell you that the drop trickling into your car may not be petrol after all. It is blood. It is blood. And in the Niger Delta of Nigeria, blood has been shed without conscience. One of the weapons of resistance is cultural resistance. Cultural resistance in poetry is sung in dance, but this is always met by bullets and blood. That is in corporate interest to keep the people divided, to keep the people fighting. And just last year, a private study by Shell admitted that Shell contributed to conflict in the Niger Delta, the violence in Niger Delta, the corruption in Nigeria, and the destruction of the social fabric of the Niger Delta.
Shell can go to hell! Shell can go to hell! Don't move off the stick! Move off the stick! No prisoners for profit or that funny smell.
Shell cannot change. The only thing that will bring about change is to hold these corporations, to hold the individuals behind the shells, behind the shield, personally liable.